Hi everyone. Today I'll be talking about the personal financial plan I've created for myself using what I've learned in our class. So to start, I'll talk about my personal financial background. I'm currently a fourth year BS management student specializing in financial management. My current sources of income are my weekly allowance and the small salary and occasional dividends that I receive as the co-owner of a JSEC stall. I don't have that much savings at the moment, since I tend to spend on my wants rather than needs. After graduation, I plan to work in corporate with a target net income of at least 25,000 per month. My short-term goals are to save at least 30,000 by the end of the year and buy a Nintendo Switch 2. Long-term, I aim to start my own business and own a car by age 30. And because of this, my financial plan is focused more on long-term growth rather than liquidity. So my budget follows a modified 50-30 rule. 40% for needs, 30% for investments, 20% for savings, and 10% for wants. Since I'll be living with my parents until I get married, I can allocate more income towards my future. The 30% for investments will go into pooled funds with a 79% focus on growth oriented and 21% on conservative instruments, aligning with my age and moderately aggressive risk tolerance. The 20% for savings will be split between a high yield savings account and time deposits. As my responsibilities grow, I plan to gradually shift my portfolio to reduce risk. So the first growth-oriented investment that I've chosen is the BPI US Equity Index Feeder Fund, since it provides exposure to major US companies, and despite its short-term dips, its historical returns are very strong. This aligns with my goal to grow my wealth somewhat aggressively for long-term goals. So the next investment that I've chosen is the Atram Global Technology Feeder Fund. I chose this since it provides exposure to high-growth tech companies and its long-term returns are very strong. It also complements my other broader investments, such as the BPI fund, by offering sector-specific upside potential. So, as for my conservative investment, I chose the Metromax 5 bond fund. Even though this has less growth potential compared to my other investments, it allows me to diversify and balance out my high risk investments while still providing decent returns. So now for my savings, I first plan to use CIMB Bank Philippines Max Save Time Deposit, since they offer one of the highest interest rates for time deposits in the market at up to 5.75% per annum and can help provide stable growth in preparation for my medium and long-term goals. Lastly, for my savings account, I plan to use GSave by CIMB. This is, first of all, very convenient for me since it can be accessed easily by the GCash app, which I often use for my everyday activities. It also has a relatively high interest rate at up to 2.6% per annum and offers high liquidity as well, which makes it suitable for me to build my emergency fund. So overall, creating my personal financial plan really opened my eyes to how important it is for me to be more thoughtful with how I use my money. Before this, I never seriously looked at my spending habits or set any clear financial goals. But going through this process made me realize the value of having a plan and actually thinking through how I should use my income.